also said that he believed that Alex had not told the whole truth about what he knew about the killings.
The family came to trial every day. After 6 weeks of trial, they came away more convinced that he did not do this.
Remember, guys, while we're watching the trial, we started realizing, hey, where Randy at? Who's over there back there? I see Lynn, Alex's sister, which I actually don't know where Lynn is within the sibling hierarchy. So Randy right here, he's the oldest, and he is the legacy, I would say, of the Murdoch family, because I think he inherited the Randolph name. It's like Randolph Murdoch, and he's like the third, the fourth, or the fifth, or something like that. I don't know, one of those numbers. I don't know which one, but he's one of those numbers. And so he's like the legacy of the family. And, he must be... What I also didn't realize, but he also worked at the law firm where Alec was, the law firm that, their family had built up, and he was one of the partners, and apparently he was also one of the people that also confronted Alec Murdaugh, his younger brother, of stealing. So, I can't imagine just, this is the oldest brother here, and he's, probably the one to continue the family legacy, right? He's inherited the Randolph name, and then you have your younger brother that's just fucking things up for you, I think that our speculation was correct because, when the trial was going on, we're like, oh, Randy, you over there? I don't see Randy over there. I see Lynn. I see, what's his name? James Marvin. What's his name again? John Marvin, the youngest brother. And then we see Buster's girlfriend. And then, I don't know if there's other family members there, but I don't recognize them. But, we're starting to not really see Randy. And I was, saying that, man, I feel like Randy stopped coming after Alec testified. And I wonder if it was that day where they mentioned that Alec had stolen Randy's a check that was meant to go to Randy. So Alex took that check, cashed it out, but then he was like, "Oh, excuse me, accountant, I lost a check. Can you make me another copy?" And they're like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" He gets another copy of the check, and then apparently he holds on to it and it doesn't cashes it until months later. So I always thought that story was kind of funny because I'm like, damn, this dude is really cunning. He took his brother's check, knew that people were going to double check it, and then he stole that money twice. Oh my God, this guy, almost a genius. Oh, what is a Discord? Oh, okay. So if you guys don't know what Discord is, Discord is just basically another, it's like a little, it's like a community thing. You know how they have Reddit, but Discord is there's different, it's like my community, right? And I have different, I don't know, what do you call them? Different threads where you can talk about things in certain topics. And then sometimes you can do voice chat in there. And then sometimes people stream games in there. I don't know. How do you describe Discord? Discord is just basically, a lot of content creators will have their own Discord. It's just basically a place for, for everyone to gather together. So, yeah. Randy's not really buying Alex's lie. And you know what? And I was speculating that I was like, man, I wonder how long the Murdochs are going to try to, how long are they going to huddle around Alec, forever? Are they just really just going to protect their legacy and that's all they care about? And it's protect your family until forever, and then just have the loyalty, blah. But I'm glad that Randy's speaking out because I was like, man, it's just wild to me to see, family members sticking together no matter what. And sometimes that's a good thing. But when it comes to when your family done messed up, no, I don't know, that sense of blind loyalty is just kind of it's just blah to me. But let's talk about Randy. Randy's over here. He's breaking his silence. He's he's the oldest Murdoch family. And I think he's I believe he's 2 years younger than Alex. And I don't know what the age gap is with them and John Marvin, the one that testified. And again, Randy did not testify on the stand. I don't know why. The Randy guy came across much more grounded than Alex from the article. However, on Twitter, someone speculated the article was part of a PR effort at salvaging reputation. Yeah, I mean, even if it was a speculation that he was trying to salvage his reputation, I don't care. I don't really care. I mean, but I could also sympathize that, you know, he has a lot that he had to deal with because his younger brother messed things up so badly. Yeah, I used to ask a lot of Randy's in the courtroom. Yeah, I'm like, Randy, where you at? I just felt like he just stopped showing up back there. All right, guys. So we have breaking silence. Murdoch brother says, not knowing is the worst thing. After Alex Murdaugh's trial ended in a conviction for the murders of his wife and son, his older brother Randy is still trying to understand what happened that night. I already kind of skimmed through this article, but there's this part where I was just like, oh my God, I wish this was mentioned in the trial, but it's okay. It's not really that big of a deal anyways, I guess, but I felt like it would have been like a moment. Hampton, South Carolina, on the surface, the lives of Alec Murdaugh and his older brother Randy appear to follow the same track. They were born 2 years apart, both went to University of South Carolina for college and law school, and then the two worked as partners at a family firm that had grown out of a century-old law practice founded by their great-grandfather. But even in college, it was clear they were different. Alex was briefly on the football team and a regular at college parties. Randy, a self-described hometown boy, would go back to Hampton every week to hunt and fish. In recent years, the offices were close enough that Randy could hear his brother's constant phone calls, but they rarely spent any time alone together. It's not like there was some problem with our relationship necessarily, Randy Murdoch said. We just really weren't alike, so we didn't do stuff together. Then came Alex's arrest in July 2022. So again, the murders happened in June 2021. Alec wasn't arrested until over a year later for the murder of his wife and son, amid expanding allegations that he had stolen millions of dollars from clients and the law firm, which forced Randy to question whether he had truly known his brother. A jury concluded last week, after less than 3 hours of deliberations, that Alex Murdaugh was guilty of the murders. But for Randy, there has been no such certainty. He has spent nearly every day for the past 20 months trying to understand what might have happened on the night that Maggie and Paul Murdaugh were fatally shot. In the first interview a family member has given since the trial, Randy Murdaugh said he had no doubt that his brother was a serial liar and a thief. And I did want to mention this as well, because like the people that believe Alec Murdaugh, they always come into like my channel and they'll spam the like, oh, just because someone's a liar doesn't mean they're a murderer. Yeah, duh. No one ever said that. Who is saying, oh my God, they're a liar? Yes, God damn it, they are definitely a murderer. No, that's not true, okay? There's so many other evidence that just poured in that proves that he was a murderer. It's not just like, oh my God, you're a liar. That means you're a murderer. No. I just thought it was really interesting that people would just use in order to defend Alec. I'm like, no one's saying that. He also said that he believed that Alex had not told the whole truth about what he knew about the killings. But asked directly whether he thought his brother carried out the murders, he said he still did not know. As a lawyer, he said he respects the jury's verdict, but he finds it impossible to picture Alex, a man he has known for decades as a protective husband and a father, pulling the trigger and inflicting the carnage that prosecutors describe as a crime of cold calculation. So, I mean, even though they're family, but here's the thing, sometimes you just don't know people very well, right? And it was pretty obvious with Alex that no one knew him. There might have been some people within his inner circle that knew his other side, you know, the pill popping side or the money stealing side. But it just seems like this guy was really good at masquerading who he really was. So it doesn't surprise me that even Randy, you know, a brother, wouldn't have even known, be like, oh, you know, like I can't imagine my brother doing this. I mean, and no one really wants to imagine their family member being capable of doing this as well, right? Hey, Arnoldo, how are you doing today? He knows more than what he's saying, Randy said. He's not telling the truth, in my opinion, about everything there. So I wonder if this quote right here is verbatim. So what I've learned recently is that sometimes when you get interviewed for articles, sometimes they kind of like move your words around a little bit. And sometimes like they might take a certain quote, but they misuse the quote for something else, and it sounds like you're saying something completely, totally different. So I feel like sometimes when I read these articles, I'm like, gotta take it with a grain of salt. I don't know. I'd rather hear like a video interview that's like unedited, but I know that it's not really a thing anymore. That's why I like watching like streams. For his entire family, he said, that has been amongst the most painful issue to confront. The not knowing, Randy says, is the worst thing there is. Randy's complicated view of the case, which he shared in a 2-hour conversation on Sunday as he stacked wood as his hunting property outside the town of Hampton, was at odds with the definitive pronouncement that one of the Alex Murdaugh lawyers made on Friday about the Murdaugh family. After 6 weeks of trial, this is what Jim Griffin said. I was like, Jim, I don't know. I was right too, because I felt like I didn't believe Jim, because I was like, I feel like Randy, the reason why he hasn't been showing up, I think he's changing his mind about his brother a little bit. So Jim Griffin, after 6 weeks of trial, they came away more convinced that he did not do this, and they are steadfastly in his camp and support him. Jim. The lawyer Jim said at the news conference after Alex was sentenced to 2 life prison terms. Alex Murdaugh's younger brother, John Marvin, testified. And surviving son, Buster Murdaugh, both testified for the defense at trial, saying that he seemed devastated after the murders. Randy Murdaugh. Okay, so I thought this was really interesting too. So Randy Murdaugh, who emphasized that he was speaking for himself and not any of his relatives, was not called to testify. He thinks it is possible no one put him on the stand because he did not align perfectly with either side. In the weeks after the murders, the family mobilized to support Alec. Exactly what he wanted. He wanted people to surround him, to mobilize, to gather, to give him sympathy and all of that. So the family mobilized to support Alex, grieving alongside him as he suggested that Paul must have been targeted over his involvement in a fatal boat crash in 2019, a theory that Alec Murdaugh continued to push during his trial. Now, after 3 months after the killing, Randy said the other law partners called Randy in to look at some financial records that appeared to show, without a doubt, that Alex has been stealing from the law firm. Randy and another partner confronted Alex the next morning, he said. In a tense conversation in which Alex admitted to the embezzlement and revealed a serious addiction to painkillers. So I wonder, I have no doubt. I think Alex did take painkillers, but I don't think he was popping them. I don't know if he was seriously majorly addicted the way that he purports it to be, but I feel like the only reason why he brought the painkiller thing was just because he was trying to get his way out of it. Oh my God, they're confronting me for embezzling money. Oh, I have an addiction to painkillers, guys. I just need help. This it's not my fault, which Alex said prompted the thefts, which we already kind of don't believe because it's a lot of money. And it's people are like, where did the rest of the money go? Randy recalled that his brother seemed relieved to come clean. Alex promised that morning that he would never lie to him again. It took about 24 hours for him to break that promise, Randy said. When he told Randy and the police, oh my God, he lied to his brother about this too. So he told Randy and the police that he'd been shot on the side of the road by an unknown assailant. Again, trying to gain sympathy, trying to gain control of the narrative. In fact, the police later said Alex had asked someone to kill him. When that fact emerged, Alex claimed that it had been an attempted suicide, now changing the story again, telling the police that he had hoped that if his death was ruled a murder, it would allow Buster to collect on his life insurance. Now, over the next few months, as Alec Murdaugh was charged with stealing more than $8 million from the law firm and the clients, Randy said he came to his brother as a deeply flawed man and a liar. They have not spoken in nearly a year. Randy also said he began to think back. Oh, this is the part that I thought was really important as well. So Randy said that he was thinking back on Alex's behavior in the first few weeks after the murders. At the time, it seemed like the police had few leads, and Randy began to call just about everyone he thought might help, asking if they heard anything to suggest why Maggie and Paul might have been targeted. He passed on whatever he heard to the police. This is a quote. I spent considerable time, day after day, for weeks on end, calling people, he said. But Alex, he said, never did, which we already thought that was weird behavior. Maggie's sister testified at trial to the same effect, saying she found it odd that Alex never talked about who might have been the killer. He did tell her, she said, that he imagined whoever had done so had thought about it for a long time. I honestly didn't really think too much about the thought about it for a long time quote, but I know some people did. They saw that and they're like, see, he's been planning this for a long time. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe he did. Oh, we have a little more. Okay, so we have Buster left Randy outside the courthouse in late February. So that's his sister, Buster's girlfriend, Buster, Randy, and maybe John Marvin in the back. That might be his head. That might be his outfit, his legs, his body, perhaps. Maybe. Before the murders, Randy has been content to live a relatively simple life, making a good living at a family firm, raising 2 daughters. Oh yeah, I was wondering if Randy had any daughters or anything like that, or like sons, any kids. So he has 2 daughters and spending weekends outside hunting at an idyllic property just outside of Hampton. But much of that life has been ripped apart as international attention has been trained on the Low County region of South Carolina and his family now. Much of the Murdoch family is focused on supporting Buster, 26, who has lost his entire immediate family. Randy is continuing at the law firm, including taking on a few of his brother's former clients. He feels the need to explain. Listen, I'm not him. I'm doing things the right way. Always have. I don't beat around the bush. Honestly, though, it would be tough for me. I wouldn't even want to deal with that law firm. I don't know, man. I'd be like, yeah, like, even though it might not have been you guys, like, I don't know how complicit you guys were, and, like, I don't know, I honestly would just, like, york my money out of there and just not even deal with them, but, maybe they got some deep ties, deep connections or something, and they really trust Randy and, like, the rest of the people who are left at the law firm, but, yeah, that's a tough fire to put out, especially when it's, like, someone that's a direct relative, your brother, who caused all of this. Cousin Eddie was supposed to die, be the fall guy. It just didn't go as planned. I want to know what's going on with Cousin Eddie. I haven't really heard too much about him. Wait, really? Lynn is the sister of the oldest sibling of the Murdochs? Oh, I had no idea, Joy. Where did you read that? I was trying to figure out where Lynn was. But yeah, they only talked about the brothers. And they're like, well, there's also a sister, Lynn. I'm like, well, how old is Lynn? Like, is she the youngest, middle? Like, where's she at? Hey, Hugo. Unlike his siblings, John Marvin and Lynn Murdaugh Goatee, I don't know how to pronounce that. Randy did not attend every day of the 6-week trial in Waterboro. On one day last month, as Alex at a defense table, his every move scrutinized by spectators and people around the country watching on TV. Randy was standing before a judge in a nearly empty courtroom a short drive away. There in the Hampton County Courthouse, he was handling a settlement for a family that his brother had represented long before his embezzlement was exposed. In court, Randy took through each of the extra steps that he had taken to make sure the clients were not among those from whom Alec had stolen money. It was overkill, but I have to do that, Randy said. He said he never really expected the murder trial to offer him the definitive answer he had been looking for, but he had hoped that he might be able to stop his lawyer's mind from running through all the possible scenarios of what happened on that tragic night in June 2021. I hope that after the trial, because there's nothing more that can be presented, that I can stop thinking about this, but so far that has not been the case. So I think this article, we should have just read it from the get-go. There's way more information here that wasn't covered. The firm was closed and doesn't exist anymore. I heard that they renamed the firm. So it's no longer PMPD. They renamed it to something else. But apparently they're still up and running. But that's from what I've heard. Oh, man. What are your guys' thoughts on Randy?
The family came to trial every day expecting to hear proof positive that he killed Maggie and Paul. After 6 weeks of trial, they came away more convinced that he did not do this, and they steadfastly in his camp and support him, and that's where they stand.